Hey everybody, I hope that you're all doing well. We are here with a timeless reading. Welcome. The first card that we have out is the Magician. And the Lovers. Okay, this is automatically going to mean that there is a conversation that you're having with somebody close with you. This can be about the relationship itself. This can be about the dynamic itself. This can also be about what you guys are doing together. So there can be maybe a plan that's being made. There can be a just figuring things out. Can have to do with the relationship, can have to do with like what you guys are doing together. Having the Magician there can be like you and this person together, you're creating something, or you have something going on, or you're discussing maybe the potential of something. There can be problem solving that's happening. There can be letting each other know what's on your mind that's happening. I'm seeing the Star wanting to come out. This feels like talking first and then able to do something, maybe even in order to prepare, in order to get ready. Okay, so we have the Ace of Wands here, but then I'm also seeing King of Cups come out, but King of Cups came out reversed when it popped out, and it's sliding up underneath King of Wands. And what this can mean is that when we get to a position where there's like a lack of patience and more of a reacting based off of how we're feeling and not slowing something down, there can be moves that are made too quickly or too readily when stuff things haven't been coming from a centered space. And that can be something that there's an awareness of. When we have King of Cups upside down, this is when we may not be regulating. It can be when we're not managing our emotions properly. It can be displacing things or not taking ownership. It can also be becoming very reactive. Basically, we can become kind of like a bit of a tornado a little bit when we have King of Cups reversed. There definitely can be this sense of like emotional reactivity, but it feels like it comes from a place of like readiness and wanting to do something, but then there being something going on emotionally that's tied up within it that can make things a little bit difficult, a little bit challenging. Because if there's a need to sort of take hold of what's now available, having King of Cups can be something that we end up soiling an opportunity because of not handling it properly. And this can also be like a mental health thing that's going on that needs to be worked with, where you bring the focus on yourself and working with it. This can mean too that if you feel like you need to center something before you're acting on it, and even for some of you before you're bringing it to another person, you want to make sure that you're doing it, because if you're all over the place and you're showing up, it's going to show all over you energetically. And King of Cups is that energy where when you're practicing within that, there's patience, there's a grounded energy, there's sort of I can experience anything that I'm experiencing and I can still stay steady within that. I can still stay centered within that. King of Cups is not about I'm not feeling anything or I'm distancing myself or closing myself off from my emotions. It's that I can be experiencing anything and I don't need to be so identified with that that's just going to come out within my response. And so there can be maybe a need to slow down, maybe a bit of a need to center, a bit of a need to ground, so we're not rushing through this in a way where we're actually out of touch. Because King of Cups is going to be you when you're coming from a place that's centered, and so you're seeing things accurately, and so you're responding also appropriately given this situation. When we have King of Cups reversed, it can be the opposite of that. We can be doing things in a way where we're not like truly present to what it is that we're doing because we're just reacting to the internal stimuli. What's this too? I'm seeing some type of issue. Having Hierophant and then we have Five of Swords here. This can be, okay, so whoever's identified with the energy of the Five of Swords, this can be looking at somebody that's in a position where they may be in charge of stuff, or they could be the head of something, or they could just be somebody that really likes to follow their own rules, sometimes even dogmas that they have. The Hierophant is generally seen as somebody that is wise, somebody that can be a leader, somebody that stands by their values because their values are important to them. And this Five of Swords is looking over and feeling offended, which is interesting because it's like the Hierophant looks like they're minding their business here, energetically from what I'm seeing. But what this means is that you can be working with somebody right now because this looks like somebody, like this is your scene between you and this other person. Because I'm seeing it be that way with the Lovers here, almost like you and this person are put on stage to go act something out. And what I'm seeing take place with the Hierophant is that you can be looking at this person, and Hierophant can be pretty traditional. Hierophant can be pretty conventional. If you're the Five of Swords here, you can be looking at this person and be like, I don't understand this, or I don't feel open to their way of doing things, and why does it have to be like that? And it can be a lot of that, like, I'm feeling judgmental over this person having their beliefs and their traditions and their ways of doing things. And then it can have us close off to, I mean, Hierophant can be the things that are very important to this person if this is the other person's energy. It can also be yours. If you have stuff that's important to you going on here and you feel like somebody that you're meant to be working with, you're having issues with them, it feels like this has to do with a lack of understanding coming from actually a place of like a lack of willingness because somebody feels unsteady when it comes to that. Meaning the Hierophant is triggering to the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords is looking at the Hierophant like, I don't speak your language, I'm not understanding you, like, where are you getting all of this stuff from? And it can be this, Five of Swords closes itself off. But it's interesting because it seems like you're directly in contact with this person, like you're working closely with this person to have the Lovers there. This can even be somebody that, like, you care deeply for this person, and this is somebody that is like one of your close people within your life. You can still simultaneously be looking at them and be like, I don't understand why they believe in that, or I don't understand why that's important to them, or I don't understand why these are the rules that they follow or what they go by, but from a place that's not, I'm curious about it. Five of Swords is more like, I have beef with that. Five of Swords is more like, I have a problem with that. Five of Swords is more like, I feel offended by that for some reason. Whereas there can be a shift moving into the compassionate heart here, looking at whatever this is that the Hierophant is representing. It can be somebody that's like just different belief system or different culture of some sort. And rather than looking at that with a sense of compassion, openness, open-mindedness, curiosity, there can be more of an issue with it. Let's see what the problem is. I mean, Hierophant can also be kind of bossy too, though. So if you're in the midst of trying to work with somebody and the Hierophant is there, you can feel like they're like unwilling to bend when it comes to their own beliefs, and that you may have to cater more towards them. And then you can feel some resentment because of that. Because like, this isn't some stranger walking on the street. We have the Lovers here, so obviously you have some type of dynamic with this person, but Hierophant can be a bit rigid. Hierophant can be a bit like, I want things to be my way. But what you can see too is that you may also be being like that. As much as you can look at this other person and be like, it's them, you can recognize that if you're also in that energy, even if it's not the same as this person, but even if it's not the same like topics or beliefs as this person, you can also feel kind of stuck in your own ways, and then there can just be mutual clashing because of that. Like, one of you guys is like, I believe that the sky is orange, and the other person is like, I believe that the sky is green, and then like both of you guys have your beliefs. Is one more right than the other? But now there's a clashing that's happening between the two of you guys. I'm seeing Temperance on the bottom of the deck, so this feels like something where there can be more of an easing into this, or trying to work with the energy, rather than seeing this as something that you need to tilt at here. Rather than focusing on differences, you can try to look more at like commonalities, similarities. It also feels too like you may just need a little bit of a break. That can be part of this as well. Some of you, this is a work situation. Okay. Taking a step back if you need to take a step back. Focus on what you guys have in common ground. It feels like that's definitely going to be helpful with this, because this could be somebody coming through and you see the way that they do things as being very foreign or strange to you, and it looks like you guys are here like working together in some way. And so there's, whether you understand it or not, there may need to be more of a seeing the person behind that stuff. Where I feel like it might get a little bit tricky is if the person who's channeling the energy of the Hierophant is becoming bossy or wanting to be controlling, that's where it can be a little bit problematic, because there can be like, instead of everybody like having their own beliefs and that being okay, the Hierophant can sometimes go into an area of being like, everybody needs to believe this, like what I'm saying and what I think and what I learned, and everybody needs to be on the same page, rather than allowing for that, like everybody to sort of believe whatever they want to be believing. Keep in mind too, like this can also be your own energy at times. You can have somebody that like they have their own stuff and you have yours, and you can be like sort of stepping on their toes here energetically, and then they're having some type of feeling defensive towards you and like shutting down, because that's not something that they're aligning with currently. So keep in mind that it can definitely work both ways here. This may be something that happens like mutually with you guys too. You guys might both see each other actually as the Hierophant, which is this, like, this is my way of believing things and this is how things are supposed to be done, but both of you guys can actually perceive each other like each as being like that. And you can look at the other person and be like, it's you, and then they're like, it's you. It kind of feels like that. And it feels too like maybe the conversation kind of went into that territory of you guys getting a little bit snippy with each other, kind of like side-eyeing one another about this, when having the lovers here is supposed to be, you guys are supposed to be connecting with each other. Like, this is an opportunity for you to like grow within the dynamic and the relationship with this person. Like, what can you learn? But when we're in the position of the Five of Swords, we're not, there can be like fighting against opening our minds or fighting against changing, because this comes from a place of fear. And so we sort of lock down the heart space because that person is like looking very odd in our eyes. And rather than approaching it in a way of open curiosity, there can be more of a just like blowing it off a little bit, is kind of what this feels like. And the person that's in the position of the Hierophant, which again can be you and can also be this other person simultaneously. Like, this can just be, you guys play both of these roles for each other. The person that's in the position of the Hierophant, they can feel like misunderstood. Like, these are my values, these things are important to me, or like, I believe these things and there are reasons why I believe it and it's been passed down, or I read this and now like I really think in this way, and feel like they are being like not heard, not understood, that there's a sense of passion with the Hierophant of like, this is what allows me to feel safe and secure within my life, and why is that offensive to you? And so there can be a bit of that, like feeling misunderstood here. And I'm seeing Hierophant be connected with King of Cups, and like, if that King of Cups energy really is reversed, what this can mean is that instead of being in the position of the Hierophant, this is a position where you can be teaching somebody, you can be showing somebody, like, instead of feeling like I need to close myself off because this person doesn't understand, I can take this as an opportunity to say like where I learned this from or why this is important to me, be able to break this down and explain it to this person. But when we have that King of Cups reverse, it can be, you're actually in a position of power where there could be a powerful teaching that you could disseminate here, and rather you're just being reactive, and you can be like really spoiling things as well here. Because King of Cups is somebody that can be a little bit, it can be tense to be around somebody that's going to be a reversed King of Cups, because you don't know, like, are they going to be nice? Are they going to explode? Like, what's going to happen here? Are they going to be offended if you ask them a question, even if you're genuine and curious? Are they going to lose it? Or are they going to give you a hug? What's going to happen? Or are they going to squeeze you too tight? You don't really know when it comes to the energy of the King of Cups, because it's somebody that's not really handling things in a grounded way, where there is a transmuting of the energy, where there is a centering, which can feel like a shame too, because when we have King of Cups is seen as somebody that, when King of Cups is upright, it's somebody that others can go to and feel like this person is a guide. And also too, having Hierophant here, this is another energy that can be a guide for those around them. And if one wants to do that, there's going to be a need to open up rather than shut down and look at something and then be at odds with it. But this can also be a time when this like mental turmoil and conflict becomes worked out, but only if there's a willingness to actually go through the process. I feel like I need to say this again, or like focus on this energy again. With the Hierophant and the Five of Swords, this can be like, my beliefs are right and nobody else's beliefs are right then. Like, this is what I stand for, this is what I believe. When it's the Hierophant, it can be anything. It can be religion, tradition, it can be culture, it can be politics, it can be like anything where belief systems are involved, and feeling like my way is the only one way. And you can get backlash from being in a position where you're maybe like preaching about or even standing up for what it is that you believe in. But this can also too be a like, these are the only right ways of thinking about things, and if anything is going to come against that, stepping into an adversarial position. And this, I mean, in a way, like, yes, I'm sure this can be something collectively that's going on. But for many of you, this looks like something that's happening within actually a close relationship of yours. This doesn't, like, having the Lovers here indicates that this is not a stranger that this is happening with, even though what's going on personally can also be reflected collectively as well. What I'm seeing on a personal level is that this looks like somebody close to you. And so taking on this like snooty vibe over here with Hierophant and then Five of Swords, and then mobilizing that, taking action based off of that, which can be, I'm feeling fired up about this and I'm going to do something about it. You can remember that, like, what the point of all of this is, and it can be to find common ground. To communicate from a place that is open rather than communicate in order to like fight or one up somebody or show that, like, prove that you're the one that's right. It can be a time where there's more of an opening up in a way of, how can I take this situation with this person and make it into an opportunity where there can actually be harmony, and not in a fake way. This isn't just like, let's sweep this under the rug. It's like, how does this actually genuinely get worked out here? And how can things turn into a place where stuff is functioning in a way that feels good for everybody and in a genuine way? I do definitely feel with the Hierophant and the Five of Swords that this can be a, if somebody has beliefs that are different to you, Five of Swords can be getting triggered for some reason about that, like taking that personally for some reason, or being offended by that for some reason. Like, I don't completely understand, but it can definitely be this. Maybe it's because you're close with this person and you feel like if they're homies with you, or if they're close with you, that they should just agree with what you say, or maybe they're thinking that about you. I don't know. Maybe that's why this is more difficult. Maybe if it were a stranger walking down the street and they were saying some of this stuff, or this was like their beliefs, these were their beliefs, you wouldn't have a problem with it. Maybe because this is somebody closer to you, somebody that you care about, maybe there's feeling a type of way because of that. This can be a time when there's more of a sense of perspective that's gained. Why is it easier to be maybe more compassionate or more unconditional for a stranger on the street that you're like, yeah, they believe whatever, and you don't get all hyped up, versus maybe having somebody close to you saying something that you don't agree with? And how is this something that, rather than shutting down, there can be a different way of approaching this, and in a way where things can actually work together genuinely? Because I'm seeing that what's going on is that this is actually an opportunity for Four of Wands, and what that means is that we have Ace of Wands and we have Four of Wands. This means that this is actually a perfect situation where if we're speaking genuinely from the heart, rather than from a place of fear, anger, separation, ego, because that Five of Swords is, this is me and this is you. It's like you and other, instead of seeing things as all being one, as all of the stuff being true under the umbrella of your relationship with this person, of accepting, maybe if you're ready to go into that territory, like all of the different sides and facets of this person. It can be a time where rather than you taking somebody's personal beliefs personally, this can be more of a, how do I even get to a place where I'm allowing that to be okay, where that's not so, where I'm not seeing that as something that needs to be, I don't need to do anything with it. I can just let that be. is it possible to do that? Because I get the sense like you and this person, you're trying to do something together here. When we have the Magician, this means that there's something that the both of you guys have going on together. And so when the Hierophant is there, it can definitely be where we're not in the middle when it comes to more like polarized beliefs that we have and beliefs that we have. I think we can use that, and everything else can sort of fall under the umbrella of this. When that's happening and you feel like you're not immediately understanding, like, how do we move to a place where there can be genuine talk and addressing about this, and that we can actually get things to a place where, given that's their energy, how can we actually make things work, because it is possible here to do that. But it's going to take restraint, but from a place of you handling things in a way where there's a maturity here, where there is a groundedness here, where there is not this reactivity, which can sometimes be difficult to do, especially when we feel like we're approaching something that has vastly different beliefs than we do, especially when it's somebody close to you, which can make it a lot more difficult because we put more conditions on people closer to us. Well, we can. We don't have to, but we tend to do that. And this is also something too, where if you've been being the Hierophant in this scenario, and maybe you've been feeling like it just has to be your way and there's no other right way of seeing things or thinking about things, it can be about sort of remembering that you have another person in front of you, and how to, given like maybe the differences, but also too the similarities and the common ground that you have with this person, how can things be all right? Because having this closed off attitude is something that it cannot allow things to function in a way where it feels like it's meeting the potential of what things can be. But there can also be a conversation we can be open to, rather than taking offense to conversation, be open to conversation where we're actually normalizing, explaining things to one another when we have questions, and like having that dialogue. So rather than immediately hopping on the defense because we feel a type of way about our beliefs or their beliefs or whatever, it can be more so coming into a space of having communication about it. But there's definitely going to need to be, like, when you're working with another person, if you want the outcome to be a harmonious one, you're not going to be able to come through this with like, I'm just doing this so I can prove that I'm right or prove this person wrong, or I'm doing this to make them look stupid, or I'm like, it's not going to be something hateful. If you want to have the Four of Wands, which is feeling like you guys are in a good place with one another genuinely, and that you guys are working with each other genuinely, there's going to have to be an openness to this, where rather than doing something from a closed off heart space, it's going to have to be open. And this is an opportunity, this is a possibility for the heart space to open. But if there's getting stuck on whatever the Hierophant is representing for you, you can be totally missing that opportunity for harmony. I'm hearing distance, because you can be so focused on, the Hierophant can also be micro sense, macro sense. Hierophant can be like somebody that is like the token person that is at the forefront of something, party, belief, something. And there can be such a fixation on a single person that there can be a forgetting about the other stuff going on that ends up happening too. That is also something as well. And something important about the Hierophant and the King of Cups is that these energies together, it shows that there is a responsibility to be showing up ethically. with Hierophant and King of Cups, to know that when one is in a position of power, there is also responsibility there as well. And for those of you that this is a relationship thing, I feel like both of you guys are actually the Hierophant in this scenario. And so it's about, like, when you have these two, like, I'm the Hierophant, no, I'm the Hierophant, and you're sort of butting heads with this person. Like, if you guys are, like, under the same, like, cosmic roof here, trying to make things work out, like, how can we get along with that? How can you stay the Hierophant and this person stay the Hierophant, but you guys are working together, like, trying to collaborate with one another here, rather than having this standoff? And I'm seeing that it is possible, like, this can definitely work. With the Ace of Wands and seeing this Four of Wands here, it is possible for things to work and for things to actually be good. If I were just seeing these energies that were like, there's not compatibility here, this isn't gonna work, like, you need to give it up, I would say that that's not what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing that this is actually an opportunity for things to come together harmoniously. And I also feel like you as the Hierophant and this other person as the Hierophant, these are two power positions. You guys are each in power positions. So why can't you, like, join forces here together? Why does it have to be a standoff? Especially too, because you're trying to do something together, so. But there's definitely gonna have to be a, speaking from a transparent, genuine, I'm analyzing what's going on with me so I can articulate accurately this person how I'm feeling, rather than this just being about a fight or being closed off or me distancing myself or whatever. And that is what will make the difference here. All right, my friends, we're going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.